So I think Europe is demonstrating very well as they rush towards a third wave in many parts, that it's going to be open and closed, open and closed, open and closed for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, yeah. Clearly, Europe's got a problem with the vaccinations and rollout and things like that, which is causing some challenges. And once they get their head around it, there's a fairly long road to go, even for quite an established country that's organized with the vaccine. You know, just because they've had the vaccine in the US, they've got all this confidence. It doesn't mean that they're not getting COVID cases. They're getting through the vaccinations, but they kind of got this, well, most of them are just going to get on with it. But as cases grow, then in Europe, there's a greater tendency to then shut down and lock down again, and then open and lock down. So clearly our hotels know this. And so we get reluctance and there's pushback. Matthew and I are working on an account for Tenerife, and I'll show you that because that's a really interesting one, and that can be duplicated in other locations. But I mean, whether they're interested or not, I'm assuming there's some interest there. But the problem is the rate of infection at the moment and the vaccine rollout. And so even countries or tourism officers are still quite reluctant, whereas they're more open and motivated in some other countries, such as the US, such as in Mexico, that we've experienced. And so it's, I think it's very much a case of finding opportunity at the moment. And it's not necessarily in hotels. I think hotels will be a part of it and hotels will grow, but I think we need to concentrate more towards the brands and the destinations and potentially the travel companies as well. So I'll go through a couple of different examples of what we've been working on with a few of you guys, with Matthew, with Dunia, with Tulio, on different types of clients. And what I want to do is give you what I've got so you can do it. Okay, I think it's important that you're empowered for so many reasons, that you need to be able to know what we're talking about. You need the product knowledge to be able to demonstrate it, to be able to sell and be convincing with your client. You also need to have confidence in what we're doing as a package in order to be able to sell it convincingly. And the only way you're going to do that is to be understanding how we're putting these things together. And that includes what the net cost is, what the gross cost, how much margin we've got to play with in a deal, in order to be able to put it together successfully with a client and meet a budget that they have to spend, right? So yes, we can go out all day long and we can sell $3,000 worth of listing to a hotel, or 2,000 or 1,000, or a payment plan or a deferred payment plan. That's easy. We can do that. We're getting pushback because things are so up in the air, right? And what that tells me is we're close and we should still keep in that market. And I'm not suggesting we move away from that market, but we've got to aim right now for what's going to make you money, right? And that is so hit and miss at the moment. And I think we've proved the fact that it's just unreliable as a revenue source for you guys to make money. If you guys make money, we as a company make money. So I think if the focus is on you guys producing and doing well and earning commissions, then that's where it needs to be. You guys don't run a charity. You're not volunteers, although it probably feels like it at times. But, you know, it is time to create income generating opportunities, and they're out there. And we've got over $1 million worth of proposals out there in the marketplace at the moment. We may not close them all. If we close 20%, that's still very good. So we're dealing at a different state. Well, if you're working with, 4 or 5 hotels, and you're only going to get one, and it takes you 2 or 3 months to put that together, then you're only going to be earning a small amount. But if you're dealing in amounts that are 10, 20, 30, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, and you're closing a couple of deals every 2 or 3 months, it's a different story. Okay, so it's kind of aiming at a different part of the market. But like I was saying, the thing about what I'm going to show you is that we're getting traction in this area. Okay, and although we're getting conversations with hotels, we're getting lots of pushback. We can't do this, we can't do that, we don't have the budgets. When you're talking to these other people, you're getting a budget. These people are going, yes, okay, we have X amount to spend. What can we get for that? It's a different type of conversation. And so the way it starts, I call it solutions selling. And we touched on this a couple of months ago. It's providing solutions. So we have all these products available to us, and we can put you into places and give you opportunities that you didn't have before. If you want to take them all, it's going to cost you $500,000 a month. But let's narrow that down and work out a campaign that's really effective for you that fits your budget. Let's get a chance to meet, and let's jump onto Zoom and let's do all of this. All right. So that's kind of the main focus, and that opens up the opportunities to work with hotel groups, to work with destinations, to work with travel companies, to and to work with brands, and then to focus. And then when you get into brands, it really starts to open up and becomes quite wide and gives you lots of opportunity. What's a brand? Well, a brand is a service. It's a product. It's luxury. It's lots of different things that want to be in front of the markets that we have and that we will create. And this is where it becomes an opportunity. And this is what I want you to see after we go through this. I want you to look at your own local market, and I want you to find the opportunities, because I think that's your best opportunity right now, is to really focus on a market that you know, that you can contact. Clearly that market needs to be open or shortly open. And if it's not your direct market, concentrate on your closest available market. And within that market, what are the opportunities? And clearly, if we're talking about the UK, then we're going to wait till 17th of May for things to start to open, and then wait till the 21st of May. But like I say, there are other markets. If you wanted to stretch across, it just becomes a little bit harder with time zones and culture and language and location. Like I know it's more difficult if you're in the UK or anywhere else to deal with the US. It's not impossible, but it's a bit more challenging. Why? Because it's the time zones, but it's also because, Americans like to deal with Americans. They like to deal with an office that's basically based down the road or in their own country or whatever the case. So, and that's kind of the same with a lot of places. If someone was in Singapore trying to sell into Australia and someone's in Australia selling to Australia, the Australian would be probably more successful at having those relationships, being able to meet, being able to understand what's going on, so there's those practical things. So there are opportunities all around us. And like I say, once we go through the different products that we have on offer and the different prices, then what I hope what you're able to see from that point is that you can also use these opportunities, because we've only got a handful right now, right? Because we're starting this journey. We've only got, we've added a new one today I'll talk about. But we've got Reach TV, for example. We know Reach is around 73 airports, 30 million passengers. I'll show you now how we can break that down per airport. So we can actually offer individual airports. We don't just have to offer them the full big deal like we've offered Dubai. We've offered them a $465,000 12-week campaign across 73 airports. Now, what we could do, and this is once we get feedback and a decision based off that, if they go for it, they're going to get amazing value. And you'll see when I go through these figures why it's actually amazing value, you know. And it really is what we've got to get 8 minutes. You know, normally it's 10 times as much as that for 30 seconds if you're an advertiser. And we've got 8 minutes. So, but it can be broken down. And so we're working on a campaign at the moment, which is covering certain cities in California. And that's really what they're looking for. They're looking for specific cities, and also in Canada. That's all they're interested in. You know, that's all they've found that that's their market. That's where people come from. So offering them 73 airports is overkill, and it would blow them out the water. So we're able to basically then go, okay, well, look, how much have you got to spend on this campaign? This is what you get for this. This is what you get for that. And one of our customers of Tulio's came back and said, well, I can't afford $460,000 to spend on marketing. Our budget's blown, but we can spend 100 to 120,000. So instantly, you know what you need to do. And then you find out from them, and they volunteer that information and say, okay, well, we'll give you a list of the areas that we've found are our target markets. And then what you do is you go to work and you piece that together. So you'll see that we've pieced together airports, and we've pieced together also gyms. Just getting someone to shut that dog up in the background. I don't know if you can hear him barking. It's a nightmare. It's like that water torture, that drip, 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 drip. It's like wears you down. I found out, you guys know, I think you talked about it last week. My car was stolen, right? And we had a break-in. The police turned up outside because someone left a stolen car out the front here. It's actually quite a nice area, but someone left a stolen car out here. And they've found my car 4 times. 4 times they located my car, and they lost it, just to interject, because apparently they're not allowed to pursue a car in a dangerous situation. 4 times. Like, how many chances do you want? You know, like, I'm telling the insurance company that on Monday. I'm telling he looked up on his little iPad. He's going, let me trace it for you. Oh yeah, it was located there. It was located there. It was like, oh, they got away. Oh, they got away. Anyway, interject. Someone's got the dog, which is great. Anyway, so solution selling. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and take you through this. Now, you can continue on focusing on hotels if that's what you want to talk to at the moment. Okay. Hotels are going to be a longer slog. They will come out. Matthew's just signed up a really good opportunity with Hotel Res at the moment. That has the potential to bring some really good stuff, but I anticipate we'll get a lot of pushback at the moment from those groups and from Hotel Res, but it's slowly evolving. So once the market opens up, these hotels will come in and we'll have these bigger opportunities happening at the same time. And those hotels, you'll see from this presentation, hopefully, you can make these hotels part of this, and it becomes more attractive for these hotels to come in one side because you can piece together the gym network, the airport network, a few hotels, a tourism body to support it all, and an advertiser across the piece as well. So that can make a really compelling campaign, which is good for everyone. and it could be subsidized by all parties involved or just paid for by the advertiser themselves. So let's go across into this. Now I'm going to, can you see that? Can you see anything?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you see Canva?
Design anything.
Ah, good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get my little outline that goes around it. Okay. So, solution selling. Okay. So, the way to look at Hotels TV when you're approaching these companies is that we're a vehicle. Okay. We are a vehicle. So, we're not a destination. A destination is what we're selling to hotels, where they come onto our website. Our website is the destination. We have X number of viewers. We have all this sort of stuff. To some hotels, it's compelling. Right now, to a lot, it's not compelling because where you are in your markets, they're just not open. They're just not active. They're just not accepting that. So once again, it's not that we're discounting this. We're going where the money is right now. That's what we're focused on. Where is the money flowing right now? In a COVID situation, as I've said before, it's one of those things where we really need to adapt. And this is what a lot of companies are doing, is adapting to the marketplace. So we have to tweak. So we're a vehicle or a framework. And what that means is if you look at Hotels TV as a framework or a vehicle, it means we can take that and the products that we market and we can put them anywhere. Wherever there's a digital screen, wherever there's an advert, wherever there's a digital marketing opportunity, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook or whatever. So we then back that with a marketing campaign. So this isn't all reliant about people getting traffic from our destination, our website. This is about using the framework of Hotels TV and taking it out and putting it in a gym and putting it on a digital screen in an airport and putting it in an office block, putting it in an airport lounge, putting it, in a doctor's surgery, in a shopping center, wherever that may be, wherever it's relevant. And that may be with a hotel on it, or it may be with a tourism organization. It may be with a destination. It may be with a travel website. It will be in the framework of hotels.tv. Hotels.tv will be in the corner every time someone buys a campaign from us. Effectively, they're paying to market us, right? So wherever we go, that logo will be there. But the content, if it's 30 seconds, it will be on the brand. If it's 2 minutes, it may be on the brand and an advertiser. But we can vary that. And once you understand the concept around how these things are sold, you'll be able to look at that and go, okay, I've got an opportunity. I can bring that in and then put that together with that. So, and it's much easier for you to see that opportunity once you're talking to your customers, when you know all the options. So we're a digital video marketing company which creates 30-second to 8-minute video campaigns promoting hotels, destinations, and luxury brands. Hotels TV broadcasts across multiple platforms in order to target, reach, and engage the right audiences for each individual client. So that's quite important. Okay, so it's per client. We're not going, okay, here's a solution. That's what we do to the hotels. Here's our website. That's the solution, right? But this is a little bit different. This makes us more relevant to more people, and more people with bigger budgets and budgets they're spending right now. Okay. So our channels, of course, include our website and our social networks, but they also include connected TV. But it's the digital screens in the airports and the health clubs and the offices and the medical and the surgeries and the malls and the outdoor and the hotels and the venues. The locations, we can do this in the UK. in the EU, in the USA, the Middle East and North Africa, in the Asia Pacific, and the other one I haven't put in there for you, Tulio, is LATAM, Latin America, which is what we can do. And at the moment, we're looking for more screens, because the more screens we can find, the more opportunity we have to go back to some of these clients and say, hey, would you like to feature in 10 airports around the Caribbean? Would you like to feature in private airports around the US, private jet airports? So it opens opportunity. Now, we're still Hotels TV when we broadcast that, but who's that going to appeal to? So it'll appeal to luxury brands. It'll appeal to maybe a chauffeuring service, limousine company. It could appeal to a resort, you know, like what we're dealing with at the moment. Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Okay. So that, in a nutshell, is how I want you to start thinking, okay, about what we've got as a framework, as the vehicle to help these people. And you can show them videos, examples, or you know, just so you understand. You've all watched that video. It's an 8-minute video. We could use that. We could use a 30-second video about the resort or about the destination. It doesn't have to be one of ours. So we can be flexible with that content. I'll show you a campaign in a minute, but we've worked with, well, we're putting a campaign together for Tenerife as a destination, because they want to lift their brand awareness as an upmarket destination now, not just as part of the Canaries, but they want to kind of separate themselves and promote that. Now they have their own video content, and some of the screens you'll see, we can't get 8 minutes on. So we're not going to be able to do this type of show of Hotels TV that we'd like to do, but it still doesn't stop us doing it. We can still show a 30-second ad for Tenerife that captures that impression of that it's an upmarket resort, and we can show that 2 to 4 times an hour on gym TV screens or in airports. Okay, because their specific interest was particularly in the airports, sorry, in the gym network and in hairdressing salons, because in the UK we've got 120 Tony and Guy hair salons, which are all ABC1. So if you don't know kind of marketing categories, ABC1 is kind of middle class to upper class, essentially, the higher end of the spectrum. It's the one that really is targeted by, I guess, most high-end advertisers. So that's the audience that we have with those. And on average, people spend maybe 2 or 3 hours in a hairdressing salon. So you've got dwell time of 2 to 3 hours. And dwell time, as we've discussed, is where people are hanging around and they have the most exposure. So the reason we'll show 2 or 3 videos an hour is because it gives more repetition. So there's more opportunity for clients to see the product and it to have an impression. Having one every hour, I'm quite against, and you'll see with most of the campaigns I've tried to negotiate up further so that we can at least get 2 or 3 plays per hour. The other thing is we need 3 or 4 different videos from Tenerife. And the reason for that is that if you're sitting there under your hairdryer for 2 hours, you don't want to watch the same thing going around over and over again. So we want to sell Tenerife and we want to sell it well, but we want to sell it a couple of different ways. So one video might be on, gastronomy, and the other one may be on hotels, and the other one might be on things to do. So we want to vary the content, but at the same time, we're getting the message across. If we can get a minute or 2 minutes, if we can negotiate that with the media, then we try and do that. If we can get 8 minutes and then cut it up, we try and do that. And sometimes that's possible. Sometimes it's seasonal. Sometimes it's not possible. And this is where I want you to kind of understand this, because I want you to have this flexibility when you go into these conversations as well. It's really important that you can then go away and put a proposal together that really hits the nail on the head for these people onto the screens. They're already, look, you've probably found if you've sold what we have, there's interest behind what we have. There's interest. We've got these 73 airports in the US with 30 million people. Who's not interested to find out more about that? We've now got 3,500 gyms in the US. And we've actually now got gyms. We've got about 200 gyms in Canada, premium gyms in Canada as well. So they've got a great coverage, great audience, and we can get a couple of minutes on some of these screens in premium areas of Los Angeles and places like that, which are key markets for properties and property sales, or hotels, or tourism, or any of these types of operators in Mexico, for example. Or find out if you advertise there, what markets want that sort of business, because that's where we can get the screen. So Hans, you're in Mauritius, so what does Mauritius want? Where do they look? What's their target market? Or their target market's UK, or their target market's South Africa, or whatever it is, or it's America. You can approach them basically and say, look, I can get you in front of this ABC audience. They have a very high interest in travel. They've got the money to spend, and it's going to, I can put a campaign together from $5,000 for you. So our campaigns can come together at quite a low cost and go up to quite a high cost, depending on what these brands or operators want. Yes, we can recommend that you don't want to do less than 30 days on a campaign. You don't want to do less than 60 days. You don't want to do less than 120 days. So, with some of these campaigns, I've gone for the Rolls Royce, but they may end up driving away in an Audi. So it may not be, I'm going in high with all guns blazing, going, you know what, this, and that's after, it's not blindly, it's after doing some research and saying, well, is this in your budget? Is this what you want to spend? But it may be a case that when you start up here, you can go, okay, well, why don't you want to do that? Or what's the problem? Is it too much money? Okay, well, what is your budget? It starts to bring, once again, it gets back to selling, and it starts to bring out the handling of the objections. So if I could, would you? So if we could do it for that budget, and we could cut down the number of airports, because you're not interested in Oklahoma or Wyoming or those sorts of places, you're just interested in JFK, Miami, LAX, and San Francisco, to hit that Palo Alto, Silicon Valley type market. Great. Well, then we'll cut it down to that. We'll add in a few gyms in the area. We'll do a bit of navigator on the back end so that we can remarket and retarget those clients online. So when they scan a QR code, we can also instantly start to retarget them on Facebook and Instagram and Google. And that way you've got a really compelling campaign, which takes them through from physical to digital, even, for these people on digital screens using the videos. They're all convinced video works. There's no question about that. They just don't know how to use it. They don't know where to go to get it. They've never maybe tried gym advertising, but we give them the safety of the framework. You see, we give them the safety of them coming onto Hotels TV as the vehicle, and we're going to put them in a very ABC one travel environment, even if we're not plugging hotels, we can still do a special on destinations and include a bit about accommodation. It's still an interesting video for hotels TV to use. So we've got the flexibility by using our channel as a marketing channel, as a marketing vehicle. And yes, we will get 8-minute slots on Reach TV, but not every deal we do will want that sort of coverage. So it gives us the opportunity to really push it out there. And if we do normally these screens do a minimum of 2 weeks, and they calculate their rates in 2-week lots. And probably, you know, it wouldn't be worth doing anything less than 2 weeks, to be honest. You know, you'd really want, I think I'm recommending clients do a month to 3 months as a campaign. So if they're not sure, you know, some clients have a budget, like this Punta Mita resort in Mexico has a budget of 100 and 120 grand, but they don't know if it's going to give them 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. That's up to us. So what's the ideal length? Well, the ideal length is between 1 and 3 months. And I think that's logical. Anything longer than 3 months, circumstances change in the marketplace, seasons change. You don't want the same campaign running for too long. And they can vary their campaign midstream. We can give them the opportunity to change content and things like that. And that might be useful to sell longer time, because right now is a great opportunity for these people to secure very, very inexpensive space. Okay, very inexpensive media. Prices have dropped, yet they're still getting traction and great views, but prices have dropped. So if they secure a 6-month campaign and want to change their ad copy 3 times, that's okay. But they'll get their 6-month space at a really, really good deal right now, because when that market comes back in the US, the prices won't be the same. Like I say, normally you advertise across 10 airports for 3 months, it'll cost you millions, right? And we're charging hundreds of thousands. So to these companies and these people that know, it's good value to get out there right now. But once again, it's talking to the right people at the right time with the right proposition. Okay. So if you're calling closed hotels now, right, you pretty much know what the answer is going to be. If you're talking to hotels that are open and busy, you give yourself more of a chance. If you're talking to destinations that are open and active and relying on particular traffic from another location, then you've got an opportunity, you know, and there will be gradually over the next 3 to 6 months, more and more and more of this opportunity as things start to open up. And it may be bubbles, but that's fine. Bubbles work. If there's a bubble between Singapore and Hong Kong, well, guess what I'm looking for? I'm looking for digital screens in Hong Kong, and I'm looking for digital screens in Singapore. And they will cost us X, and we will sell it for Y. And there lies the margin. Okay. And the way, from a commissionable point of view, the way your commission works on these sorts of deals, and we've had to look at this because it's difficult, because if we're on kind of your commission scales and there's not much margin in it in order to get the deal across the line, and we're having to pay lots of platforms and media to get that space out of the deal, then it's very difficult to then pay another commission on top of that unless the margin's in that. So with these bigger deals, and I've been consulting with a few people that do these, what they tend to do is make commission on the margin. It's a bit like selling a house. You know, the agency gets X amount they charge, and then the salespeople get their 10 to 15% of the of the profit that's in the deal for the real estate agent. They don't get a percentage of the house because they couldn't get 10 to 15% of the house. That would be ridiculous. That would be far too much. And that's how it works. So so the way on a commissionable scale it works, okay, I'll give you an idea. We've got a really good deal with Reach TV that we can get 73 airports for $88,000 per month. Now, $88,000 sounds like a lot, especially when you're selling $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 deals. But when you're selling $200,000, $300,000, $1 million advertising deals, 88,000 to reach 30 million people is a pretty good deal. But we don't make any money out of that, and we still have to make the video. So we've budgeted about 10 grand for the video, maybe an extra couple of grand. So that brings us up to 100,000 in cost per month, times 3 months is 300,000. So we've put a campaign to Damac Property Group, to Dubai Tourism, to broadcast a Dubai video that we have to buy from Sarah, who's on screen. And so that costs us basically, call it 300,000, but we're selling it at 465,000. So the profit in the deal is 165,000. And as such, that's essentially what the commission will be paid on, what that profit is in the deal. But doing that, it gives you the opportunity to go out and find screens and get media packs and bring them to us so we can have a look at them. And we'll put packages together if it suits kind of the market that can open up new opportunities for you instantly. And we don't have to be on there. We just have to have the agreement or the media pack and the understanding negotiated with the media to allow us to then go, okay, well, look, we can get in front of this market. We're putting a campaign together. It's going to start in May. Do you want to join us? It allows you to build the urgency and build the exclusivity and build the desire very, very quickly in your marketplace by just finding the right screens. And those screens could be in airports. You'll only get 30 seconds. Sometimes in airports, you only get 10 seconds on a rotation like Heathrow. You know, they have 60 seconds in a minute, 10 seconds, then it changes to another. And normally they're images, they're not videos. So to get a minute, you have to buy all 6 slots, and that can become quite expensive in an airport like Heathrow. Okay, so it's kind of just understanding. So if a client says, well, they really want to be in Heathrow, then we can do it, but we just have to cut down the amount of time, or we have to up the amount of a campaign money that we're going to take off the client because it basically becomes more expensive. So I'll go over more of that in a minute. So let's look at our individual opportunities. Okay, and I'm going to start with the UK market, not for any particular reason, but so the UK market, advertising on premium gym TV. So we work with a company called Zoom Media. Okay, and you can Google these guys. Zoom Media are the biggest gym media company in the UK, in the US. They're in Canada as well. I believe they're the biggest in Canada. And that's it. So they've got massive reach. Massive reach. So this is just the UK market. Their minimum, and there's an example. There's a screen in front of the treadmill. But then, you know, what we've talked about here, this isn't all the gyms. There's over 800 gyms. We've just targeted here 440, which are classed as premium gyms. The premium gyms have their decent share of ABC1 members. And remember, that's our market. So it's good to focus. We're not really interested in the rest, to be honest. If you've got an opportunity with a cheaper brand or mobile phone brand, they'll probably go directly to the gym company anyway. They don't need to come through Hotels TV as a travel brand to necessarily get to that market unless we've got something unique to show them or tell them or offer. So we want to make this about travel. We want to make this about hotels TV, but we want to show this off. So Tenerife, for example, would be across these screens. 440 gyms, 15 hours a day, which these gyms consider themselves open, 1,800 screens. The ad length is 30 seconds, but sometimes we can extend that to a minute to 2 minutes. Now, if we're going to extend it to 2 or 3 minutes or whatever we can get, we can, once again, if I could, would you, we can always go back and ask, hey, we need this. Everything's open to negotiation with these deals. So this is a guide, okay? And I'll show you how you price this, okay? So 30-second spots, and we're talking about 4 spots an hour or 2 spots an hour. Now, considering the dwell time in these gyms is probably about 60, 70 minutes, that means people can see this 2 or 3 times. And that's great. From a marketing point of view, for the one person to see it 2 or 3 times is gold. Now, they'll probably go to the gym maybe 2 or 3 times a week, right? So they're seeing it 2 or 3 times every time they go. So the average person, for it to get stuck into their psyche, needs to see something minimum 6 times, right? Maybe 6 to 8 times. And we can, in the space of 3 or 4 weeks, make sure they've got it maybe a dozen times. If the campaign goes for 60 days, it's even better. But you understand now why we need a few different videos to rotate. We don't want to just show them all the same content. All, we want them to pay attention and go, oh, yeah, I saw that the other day. That's a bit different. It grabs their attention again, right? And gives them another message. And we want them to scan the QR code, to come through, and we will capture them. Once we capture them, we then start a remarketing campaign on Facebook, right? Because the QR code takes them straight to our website. We've got a Facebook pixel on the website. Then what we do is engage Facebook, and every time they go on Facebook, the same ad they just saw in the gym is going to come up on their smartphone or on their desktop or on their laptop and on Google and on Instagram, different videos. All right. And then that's going to come back to a landing page on our website, and that's going to take them out. So once again, we are a vehicle to get them through the journey as successfully as possible to the client, for the client to benefit, our client. And so we provide the vehicle to do that. And that's just something they don't get if they just go directly to these organizations. They do not get that. Okay, so this is where your USP, your unique selling point, comes in. And also, Hotels TV gives them credibility, and they give us credibility as well, because we plan to be on these TVs every month. And so if someone's engaged for 2 years on Hotels TV looking at all sorts of different content, and we get another brand come in, well, guess what? They're already used to the format of the show. It's familiar, and they're being introduced to a new product. So that's another advantage by coming in with us. So total number of spots is 739,200. That's effectively shown across the 1,800 screens in 440 gyms. All of a sudden it starts to add up. So what are the campaign deliverables? Impacts. Impacts are a combination of impressions and the number of people attending the gyms. In some places, in Australia, which I'll move on to afterwards, they have face recognition technology built into the screens, right? But it doesn't collect data, personal data. It doesn't connect it back to an individual and a name and a profile. What it's looking for is who's paying attention and how long are they paying attention to the screens. It's scanning them while they're watching the screen, while they're watching the show. I mean, it's amazing technology to know how many people are in your gym or your space and how many people. Now, this stuff is just going to get more prevalent. It's not through the UK and the US through these screens as yet, as far as I'm aware, but they've got it in Australia. and they're independent companies that work with them. So this is amazing stuff for you kind of to be able to pass on and to be able to talk to your clients and know. Because gone are the days where, you know, billboard advertising, people used to go, okay, that's really good, but we don't know how many people are actually looking at it. And now we're starting to get metrics on this sort of stuff. So it's really important to understand what works and what doesn't. And you'll get an idea of that by, in the old days of advertising, they used to offer a coupon. That's how they would measure advertising. How many people cut the coupon out and how many people cashed it in. That's an easy metric. So these days it's a bit different. Is there a deal or no deal? Some of the time there's no deal because the client wants brand awareness. They're looking for sales, but really they're just looking to get the message out that they exist. So impacts are a combination of impressions, how many times a customer sees them, by the number of customers that go through and how many times it's played on the screen. So over the course of this duration, you can see that the impacts can be great through that. And I'll go into a little bit more about how we can calculate that. Now, as a general rule, to calculate something like that or something like this, and that's, sorry, I've done some calculations where it says 64 million impacts. That's because there are 4 spots. I've upped the whole campaign. It's actually over a longer period of time. And this is what happens. So the media companies give you the deliverables. So there's 1.1 million impacts for Tony and Guy hair salons across 120 locations, across 743 screens, right? But that's because there are 4 spots. If there was only 1 spot, your impact level would drop by by 3/4. All right. So by adding another spot in and negotiating, like with this company, I negotiated 2 extra spots and a complete other. I actually went out at 30 days. I actually negotiated 60 days. So it basically quadruples the reach in the campaign because now all your views are times 2 or 4 and all your spots are times 2 or 4. And that's how you can grow your reach dramatically. Now, as a guide for advertising, everything's calculated in advertising, generally speaking, the metric is around CPM, cost per 1,000 views, CPM. Now, the average CPM across the airports is about $25 CPM. It's not that expensive, right? You could pay on some platforms, like in Australia, they want $60 CPM. So I'm talking about Reach TV across the US, 25 per 1,000, $25 per 1,000. So we're talking in the hundreds of thousands and the millions. So you knock off the 3 zeros to calculate it, as I'll show you some examples. And like here, so this campaign, if it's that, then basically, if it's 1,188,260 impacts, you go 1188 times 25. That campaign will cost $29,700. Simple as that. Now with the gyms, it's even less. Okay, with the gyms, it can be down around $10, $8, $9, $10 per 1,000. So under that campaign, 1188. Now that's with profit, I might say as well. Sometimes we can get this for $3 or $4 or $5 CPM, but we then sell it at $10 CPM, and that's where you make your margin. Okay, so the cost at $5 times 1188 is $5,940. That's the cost If you sell it at that, no one makes any money, right? So if you sold it at 10, simply times 2, it's 11,880. So there's $5,000 in that deal for a 14-day campaign, or a 28-day campaign, or a 3-month campaign, or whatever it is. How many gyms, how many locations do you want? Well, it comes down to the impressions. So yeah, we can put you across 50 gyms, but you're going to get 50 million impressions, for example. So therefore you have to pay for 50 million impressions. Okay. Now every impression is an opportunity for someone to see it, for them to advertise. And that's why they use CPM. And in the airports, like I say, it's $25. But using CPMs is great because that can give you room to negotiate. Like you'll see what I've done with the airports. They quoted me $25 CPM, but I know they're open to negotiate at the moment. That campaign costs $60,000. I went, but I will need to do that at $30,000. And they went, all right. Now I'm still going to sell it at $60,000, 25 CPM. It's a good value. I'm also going to give extra value. We're going to do marketing. I'll show you all that in a minute. But I've just cut the price in half. We make 30 grand just out of that component in the deal. There are 3 components in the deal. Just out of that one component, we just make 30,000. On the next one, we'll make 5 or 6,000. On the other one, we'll make less. So we might end up making more profit out of one part of the package more than the other part of the package, depending on what budget we need to meet. So you'll see it because I'll show you it, because I had to try and meet 100 to 120,000. I've actually put the quotation in at 122,000, and I've told them that if that's too much, there are elements we can cut out. Not that we can discount our price, because I've already told them we've got them twice the amount of exposure that they would normally get. But if you now want to get under budget, even though this is amazing value, we're going to have to cut some bits out. I'm hoping they turn around and go, no, that's great. If you've got that extra value for the sake of $2,000, let's just go with it. But if they want to cut something out, well, we cut out some views or some time to bring it back to their budget, some impressions. And therefore we can adjust that campaign accordingly. So hopefully you can start to see now, it starts to give you lots of flexibility. And this is from $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 up to hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of campaigns. Okay, to get onto these particular screens. All right, so that's the gyms and that's the hairdressers. All right, hairdressers are great because they have more dwell time. Gyms are 70 minutes. Hairdressers can be up to 3 hours. ABC market, the reason Tenerife were interested in this market, it's exactly the market that goes to Tenerife. And that's what they want to attract. People that are interested in Tenerife, that have the money to go to Tenerife, that like food, that like coast, that like to go there all year round. They weren't pitching, they didn't want us to pitch at a particular time of year because they're open all year round. As Vanessa will testify to the moment while she's in the Canaries.
Yeah, I'm actually in La Palma, which is very, very next to it. I can see it. I can see Tenerife and then the big volcano there from here. And yeah, I was just talking before with the hotel owner because I want to take advantage and try to sell our services to him. It is a 3-star hotel, but it looks like it was 4-star. He just told me that he dropped 1 star because he didn't want to pay more. But the hotel is amazing. I will show you some pictures. It's absolutely amazing. And I asked him what was the high season, and he told me every day here is high season because there's a lot of tourism even in the winter. We are getting into the spring, and today it's 24 degrees.
Yep, exactly. And there's an opportunity. So sitting down with them, where do you want to be? Do you want to be across, 400 premium gyms, with 10 million impressions of your hotel for 15, 20 grand, and then we can talk about splitting payments. We can talk about doing all sorts of things, payment arrangements. Once again, it's a bit of an if I could, would you? We don't want to fund it. They're going to have to come up with money. But, it gives us flexibility on payment arrangements and different things that they can do. So calculating the cost of the campaign. So there you go, per 1,000 views. There's a simple calculation there. So if they want 500,000 impressions to start with, then it drops the price of their campaign. And so there it goes. So, $25 per 1,000 is not bad at all. If you look at sort of marketing, even through Facebook, you can spend $2 or $3 per 1,000, being very general. And obviously, the more targeted you are, the higher the cost gets. But then what you would expect from that is results. So with social media marketing, it's normally 3 to 1, 2 to 1, or 3 to 1. So for every dollar you spend, you should get $2 or $3 back. That should be the return. And this is the same with these campaigns that we do as well. So for every dollar that they spend on this, if they spend $20,000 on their campaign, we would expect them to get 40 or 60,000 back. Now, sometimes they could do a lot more, but that's what we would expect, provided it's done properly and it's in front of the right people, the connection's right. We click through directly to through our system to the hotel. There's rates and availability. Everything's working properly. That's great. Once again, they don't have to put rates on our system. We're just the landing page sending people through to the right location or connecting them. If they want to be connected directly onto their platform, we can do that. But we will also give them a landing page on our website, because if people are watching Hotels TV and they go, geez, what was that hotel again? And they come onto our website, we want them to be able to find it. And so any company that we're working with, they will also be on the homepage of our website, so that if people do land on that page, they're being promoted and people can find them easily enough. So we just move things around. Okay, so you can really manage that cost. So you could do a lot more than that. The campaign could be a lot higher, and the customer will get a lot more out of it. If they want to spend less, then they will get less out of it. It's all relative. Now, with this, we then have the ability to use the research that these companies have come up with, right? So if we're going across to, this isn't about Hotels TV's website. This is about the gym network. Our viewers are 47% more likely than the UK average to be planning to book holiday within the next 12 months to a European destination, with 28% preferring a beach resort location, and with 12% booking their trips normally 3 months prior. So this is factual data. These are surveys done through professional survey companies on the type of people that are in the gyms and in the hair salons booking. So we get to use their research. So you take that into your meetings and you put these on your presentations, as you'll see I've done. And it's quite powerful stuff to support what you're doing. Okay, airports. So in the airport network, we can now advertise across any airport in the UK: Heathrow, Luton, Stansted, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh. They've all got screens, and we've got the connections into all these. So where do you want to be? How many airports do you want? Where are your clients? The thing is, you can ask the clients this: where are your clients? Where are your guests? Where do they mostly come from? So what do you want more of? You want more people from Manchester? Fine. Then we'll target gyms and hairdressers around Manchester, and even use some screens in Manchester Airport. It's going to cost you £25,000 a month for 3 months, £75,000 campaign. You're going to have 10 million. We can even kind of work it back. If it's going to cost them 75 or around 75,000 divided by 25. So it's about 3 million impressions. You work it back like that. You can work it back to front. This is where your school maths, all that stuff that your teachers were teaching you in school, right? Now you can actually use it. That's the way I look at it. So that's the way you use it. You work it backwards to work out the number of impressions and the number of values. So everything's the same and it's all relative, and it's really hard to argue with from a client's perspective, because that's what it costs. You want a premium market? It's cheap at $25 per thousand. And anyone who's done any marketing will know that it's really good value. Yeah, if you want to just generally market, you can spend $10 per thousand and just be very, very general on Facebook, and you're just going to get whatever results you get. But we can be right in their face, showing you 2 or 3 times per session. Once again, you're selling the repetition, you're selling the core market, you're selling the the targeting. Geez, you know, we can even do product placement in these places. Like if Tenerife wants a stand set up in the gym with brochures, physical brochures, we could do it. You know, there is a small cost to do things like that. So whatever, you know, to make sure that it is the right campaign for them and it's a working, effective campaign, it's possible. Okay, so airports. In my view, look, we can advertise anywhere, but departures has the most dwell time. In arrivals, you pick your bag up and you're gone. You know, even if you're waiting for an Uber or whatever, you're on your smartphone. You're looking at your social media. You're not looking at any screens necessarily. Look, if your baggage is delayed, you might cast an eye around there and you might look at a few things, but you're there for a fairly limited time, depending compared to your departures. So it's the departures that I'm interested in advertising in. And in some airports, we have an opportunity to be on the screen before and during or inside where people go shopping, where they go duty-free shopping. So therefore, we're working with Moet Hennessy, as you guys know. So, you know, where do Moet Hennessy want to be featured? In the duty-free section. You know, they want something amazing. They want to see sales of duty-free increase as a result of being on that screen or on those screens around the airport. That's what they want. And if they see that, and that's what they've experienced before, something like an 18% uplift for Belvedere vodka sold out of airports in the US, which is also part of Moet Hennessy. They've seen that sort of increase, and therefore they'll push money behind that campaign. And when they push money, they do it for a decent length of time and they spend a decent amount because they know the metric works for them. And that's what it's all about. So in the UK, you can spend from £10,000 to £1 million. In Stansted, it starts from about 7,500, okay, for a 14-day campaign. So these are really reasonable prices. If you look at them, you know, to be in Luton Airport on the big screen in the departures lounge for 2 weeks, $5,000, 30-second ad, it's not bad at all. But coming with us, we've got the opportunity that we could actually turn this into a 60-second ad or a 90-second or a 2-minute ad, okay, because we're going to negotiate on that basis. Or we may have 2 or 3 campaigns running at the same time. Now, what's the advantage of that? Well, then we have Hotels TV as a show has 2 minutes, played 4 times an hour. Because now what happens and what we can do is we collect the data from those 3 or 4 campaigns, and we can serve our ads through Facebook remarketing and retargeting to the people times 4 campaigns. Because what tends to happen is we will sell remarketing like Navigator, which is sold on an impression basis. So if people buy impressions. Let's say they buy 100,000 impressions. Then they get served 100,000 impressions, but there's loads more impressions. So what we can do is use that for other campaigns, use our impressions on others. So we can, and if they're looking at campaign number 3 and not their campaign number 1, and they still scan, we can still serve ads to them because they're hitting our website. And so we can still target people, even though they've looked at ad number 3 and we're interested, they can still, ad number 1 can still be remarketed to them. So it's kind of think of it like a sweeper. So yeah, Hotels TV is the vehicle. They're all sitting on our channel. We're plonking that onto screens. And then we have this digital marketing sweeping going on. So when people engage, we'll talk about Navigator in a minute because they may have seen this on social media before they even got to the airport. That's possible with Navigator. But then they've got this sweeping thing where imagine they're in the airport. They're now looking at the screen. We've picked them up on Navigator, or we've picked them up on the screen and they've scanned the QR code, and then they've gone onto their phone and they've seen the ad on their phone now, seconds later. So that could give them 3, 4, 5 repetitions of this ad, which is quite powerful. And like I say, with the Navigator product, it means we're targeting EasyJet, or we're targeting United or Singapore or Malaysian Airlines. And they've done a remarketing campaign for 500,000 impressions. Means we're serving 500,000 ads across this network. So we're engaging them before, during, and even after. So even when they're at the destination, when they're in the hotel, you know, if we're marketing a luxury property company, we can be marketing to the people whilst they're in the destination. Why? Why is that good? Because the property company might get a call or may be able to say to this customer, we'll send a limo around to your hotel and we'll take you to tour around 2 or 3 properties whilst you're here in Tenerife. Right? It all starts to add up. All the campaigns start to click together. So now we've done a gym campaign. We've done an airport campaign. We might have captured people on social media with the widget, with the pixel in a gym. Then they've got to the airport, they've seen it, and it's on their social media. We can even do in-flight magazines. If they want to take a quarter page, we could do that. That gives them that message again. And then when they're at the other end, lying around the pool on their sunbed, they're fed that message or maybe another message. If it's a hotel, where maybe we're sending the message that there's a restaurant. So why don't you just come into the restaurant? Or did you know that Hennessy VS is available at the bar of this hotel? Or Belvedere vodka. So it can be so targeted and real and meaningful for the guest, which creates higher engagement, which is good for the brand. And on this, and I'll give you this document as well later, but you can even view the airport statistics each month. So take an interest in it. If you're out there selling it, how many people are traveling, you know, right now in the UK? And I'll just show you this very quickly because it's quite interesting. I mean, the UK thinks they're shut down, right? Which they are. I don't think there's any mistaking that. But look at the airport statistics for a second. Have a look at Heathrow. Right, passengers this month, 461,188. Now it's not a blip on what it was. It's down 90%. But there's still 460,000 going through that airport this month. What about Luton? I don't actually, Luton's not there for some reason. Gatwick, 32,747. Well, that's really low, isn't it? But, you know, that's 98% compared to last year change. Passengers for the rolling year, 4.4 million for the year. Heathrow is 11.7 million for a crap year. A really, really hard year. Normally they'd have 1 billion people, you know, kind of through those by. It's America, but you know, it's one of the busiest airports in the world. But yeah, it just shows you people are still moving around even now, and prices are low. You know, prices are 60 to 80% discounted on these screens, but they're going to go up soon because of the euros happening over there. But it just shows you what's out there. So you can see this content in the US. It's called the TSA. I think it's TSA. I think I've got it down here under US anyway. So that's the UK. So we can advertise across any airport. So that's gyms, all the gyms in the UK, and the health clubs. If you know the buildings, the health clubs over there, David Lloyd, Bannatyne, Nuffield, and Fitness First. They're the premium clubs all over the UK. And this company has sewn them up. They've got all the screens. Big business to them. Big business. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of advertising they do. It works. That's why people keep re-advertising. But it can be local. So think about a domestic campaign, right? So the UK's opening May 17th and May 21. Think about domestic campaigns. Oh, I really want to target clients in the UK to, fine. Where are they coming from? 2-3 hours away. They're coming from Manchester or Birmingham, and you want to sell London, you know, or you want to sell the Cotswolds or whatever. So we just target the gyms and spots that we want, or whatever other screens you find. If you find some other screens, it opens more opportunities. Okay, so that's UK. US, we've talked a lot about the US, but in previous times, excuse me. So duration, I've used this from a previous campaign. This was to do with Punta Mita, 60-day campaign, ad length 60 seconds, okay, which split into 2 30-second ads per hour, 4 video rotations, played in the restaurants, the bars, duty free. Now I know with Reach, they've already offered 8 minutes. So I know I could get a couple of minutes. I know I could get 2 or 3 minutes. Now this is for one customer. So if I can get that customer to agree to, let's say 3 minute, let's say it's 150 seconds. I give that customer out of 180 seconds. I could use that other 30 seconds. What would I use that for? Any guesses?
Brand advertising. For brand advertising.
Yeah, we could use it for brand advertising, or what else? Another advertiser. A Moet Hennessy, for example. We could stick Moe in there on around the campaign and make it complementary to the piece. You know, it's still good. And that's just through negotiation. So what we do is we just negotiate with the platform and say, well, actually, we need 3 minutes, or we need 4 minutes, or we need 5 minutes, because I need to put an advertiser in there. So even though we're going to sell this campaign to this customer at $62,000, $25 CPM, right? I'm going to use this opportunity to get 30 seconds extra or a minute extra an hour that I can now sell something else. And I can bring in another brand. And what I'm doing is, if that brand's impressed with what we've done, they're probably going to take a main campaign next time. So I'm forward planning my clients. Like that's what I would do with Moet Hennessy, because I want them to become a really full-time client of ours. They're really interested. They just want it to be kind of shown and proven to them a little bit more in certain areas. So with certain clients, it gives me an opportunity to do that. Or we can just, even in the gym network, we could do the same. We could negotiate 2 minutes and give the client 1.5 minutes. We give them 90 seconds, split into 3 different 30-second lots through the course of an hour. And we could add in a brand for ourselves, or we can add in another third-party brand as well. All right, which makes us more revenue across the whole campaign. Now, in the US, so have a look at the breakdown of airports. Hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea. So this is essentially doubled, right? So you'll get all the figures. I'll give you all the media stuff. I've put it into a Google Drive box, and I will share it with you. You'll have access to all the media packs with the net rates from all these media companies, so you can start to look through and read through the material and understand their sales documents, because there's so much in that you can use to help sell your clients. Because whatever sales documents they have, we can effectively use that information as our own. So over a month, the impressions you get at LAX is about 750,000. Yeah, 735,772 impressions across LAX. Okay, now what does LAX cost? Okay, LAX costs 18,000 per month. So if they just wanted screens, and to be honest, it doesn't matter how many screens they're on, because they're going to be on loads. What matters is the impressions. So if they're on 10 screens or 50 screens, it's fine. They're going to get spread around the airport. We can give them a breakdown of where the screens are. That's not a problem. But they're going to get 735,000 impressions over a month distributed around the bar, the duty free, and all this sort of stuff. That's going to cost them 18,000 for a month. So what about San Francisco? Well, San Francisco has 210,000 impressions in a month. So you can see from the chart that I've got on the screen, I've just doubled that because I'm trying to sell a 60-day campaign because the client has $100,000. All right. So I could either, basically I could either add a 1 month campaign in and add more things in and make it a really impactful month. And if they had something, if there was a special occasion, maybe a launch or a resort opening or something like that, maybe it would be worthwhile to have a really impactful month across lots of media. But that's not the case for this company. It should be across 2 or 3 months max. Like I said before, I wouldn't go longer than 3 months at a time. I would talk any client out of that. They could reserve the space, but I would vary the campaigns in that time. But this client, and I will show you the presentation after this. I'll show you the presentation we've sent to the client. It's got Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, 400,000 over 2 months, John Wayne, Orange County. It's a smaller airport, John Wayne, but it's in the middle of Orange County. So it's a very affluent area around that location. So it's one that's worth being on. And where did I get this targeted audience from? They told me. The client told me, because they've done the research for years. They know where their customers come from. Now I could add to that, but I'm sitting in Australia, right? So how do I know? I ask them, and I ask Reach TV, where are your main areas? If it's going to feed into Mexico, it's going to be feeding into Puerto Vallarta, where are you getting these people from? Where, and who's flying where and what flights? Have a look at the flights. Have a look at United. Once again, you got the Navigator product, which we'll go over in a minute, but I've seen that United have cheap fares to Mexico at the moment. So that shows you there's interest. You know, they're plugging it. They're spending money on Google, buying ad space to tell everyone they've got cheap flights to Mexico. So I'm just using these as examples. You look around your market. You know, even in Bangkok, Indra, you know, even there, shortly you're going to have a bubble open. So where's the bubble going to be? So you start to look at the screens and look at the opportunities of both sides and start to put a campaign together that's irresistible for each party to work with. And that's all you do. Focus on that, because everything else will take you, especially if you're going to beat hotels up at the moment, you're beating yourself up. You're going to tire, because yes, add them into the system. We'll do campaigns, send them an email, talk to hotels. It's great to be across all that, right? But you need to focus on who's spending money at the moment. That should be your focus. And you can see that by going on social media. You can see that by looking at videos. You can go on to Bloomberg and see who's advertising. You can look at it on TV. You can look at it on connected TV. You know, just go on Facebook and type in things about pretending to travel around Thailand or travel around London and see what ads come up, because they're the ones that have bought your ad space. And that'll give you an idea who's spending money at the moment. So, you know, yes, we can, down here, 73 airports, 155,000 a month. Now look at that. Just for a second, look at the prices of each individual airport. Individually, it's not too bad, you know. 18,000 to advertise around LAX airport and get 735,000 ad impressions. That's pretty good, isn't it? And now look at what you can get for 73 airports and 30 million travelers and over 10 million impressions. You know, it costs us $88,000. We could sell it at $100,000 and still make some money. I chose to sell it at $150,000. I think your profit margin, you should be aiming for a minimum 30%. Minimum 30%. Now, I'm selling that twice. Now, what I mean by that is I've allowed space for two 30-second adverts in an 8-minute hotels TV show. That means I'm selling two 30-second adverts to 30 million people for 155,000 each. Actually, I've done it. I've priced it in at 3. That's how I got to 465,000. Sorry, that's across 3 months for one campaign. I'm getting confused. So, but per campaign, I have no issue with charging 300,000 for 8 minutes to be on hotels TV, to have two 30-second ad spots within our 8-minute show to 30 million people in that month, 10 million impressions across 73 airports. It cost $88,000 plus the video charge. If we had to make our own video, let's say it cost us 10 grand. So there's 100 grand, call it round figures. And I'm selling it for 155,000 with one advertiser, but now I'm targeting 2 advertisers. So I want 300,000 for that $100,000 investment. So I've priced it up 300%. And that's still under the market by hundreds of thousands at the moment. So if I only get one sale, I'm still ahead. We still make 50 grand. But I'm hopeful we get 2 advertisers and we make 300,000. And that's because we negotiated well. It's not because it's not worth it. It's worth it. Like I say, normally they'd spend more. I'll show you the prices. Let me just give you a comparison. And like I say, you'll have access to all this anyway. that it? No, that's not it. That's the other one. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
In good times, all right, pre-COVID, this was their price list. Now, let me explain pre-COVID. They were having 100,000 travelers a month. They're over 100 million travelers a month. They're over 30 million now. Like for like on a daily basis, in some cases, they're only 40% down on 2019 figures across the US. That's pretty good. So rate card is ridiculous. They're selling it very, very low on rate card, which is what we're buying it for. That's how we're able to get 88,000 across 73 airports. But look at the prices here. Number of airports. All right, so let's say you want to be across 10 airports and you want to be shown 16 times a day based on a 30-second advert. It's written there. Like I say, this is their rate card marketing material. 1,000,028 for 10 airports, and their ad shown 16 times a day times 10 airports. All right, now let's go back. We've got 4 airports there, $60,000 campaign over 2 months. That was only over a month. All right, so really good value. And then you look down here and you go 155,000 across 73 airports. Oh my God, it's a bargain for a market that's only 40% down now. And so to sell all this, you've got to know all this. That's why I'm telling you. Okay, these are things that you need to kind of study now and get your head around to understand and be confident with what you're trying to move into and what you're trying to sell. Because this is where the traction is at the moment. Okay, once again, it's about pivoting. It's about just adjusting your sales process so you can find where the money's being spent at the moment and target that. And as commission-based salespeople, you're running your own business. You know, that's effectively what you're doing. So you should be wanting to make money for your business. Okay. Yes, setting up and planning and building relationships is all very important, but you also want sales in the door right now. So on this, you can look at Reach TV, and there's a video there showing Reach TV in the airports. Okay, and if you haven't seen this, you should watch it so you know that these TV screens are real and they're watched. And this is an ad for Bumble, which is a dating service on Reach TV. This is Serena Williams advertised on Bumble. So it goes through all this, and then it shows you where Reach TV is in all the airports. And this is where they'll be. And this is where Bloomberg is, and Hollywood Reporter, and all sorts of different content and different shows. And this is where Hotels TV will be. So this is powerful stuff to show people, especially in the US, where they're very screen friendly. And it looks like Reach have acquired, or will do in April, another 2,000 screens. They've got 1,700, and it looks like they'll get another 2,000 screens, which is amazing coverage. Okay. And again, through reach, and you'll see this is some of their marketing documentation that I've put in the box for you to read. It's got exactly who the market is that's looking at all these screens. That becomes your market. This becomes your sales material as an example. And this isn't too different from what it would be in Bangkok or in London or, you know, anywhere. I mean, these are major airports, and generally airports are set up pretty much the same way all over the world, especially the big international airports. And the travelers generally are the same people that travel through those airports. So they interact with that space in a very similar way. So, but if you approach your airports wherever you are and find out who does the digital screens and get a media pack, they'll have all this because that's how they sell their own product. We've become a reseller almost. We've positioned ourselves almost as a reseller for their content. So we stick our show on their format as the vehicle, and we can then use all their stuff because it's the same market. But it almost encases or categorizes the advertisers within a luxury travel show. And so it should be luxury travel, friendly products and brands and hotels and so on that we're engaging with. In the US, okay, again, it's all about being in gyms, being right in front of people, okay? And we've got 2 minutes on the screens in the US. And like I said, we can give 90 seconds to our client and get another 30 seconds and use it for our own branding or another client. You got to be a little bit careful, like you can't really promote alcohol products, apparently, that successfully in a gym, but then some gyms might allow it. It's worth finding out. But one of our clients we're talking to is a new wellness vacation company, and we're trying to get them to buy space in US premium gyms and Canadian gyms, because it's an ideal relationship. If you're dealing in wellness vacations, you're dealing with people that are health conscious or wellness conscious, and those people generally will attend a gym. And therefore, if they see a beautiful resort pop up that belongs to this particular vacation company, it's a great, suitable market. Now, it so happens, just to give you an idea, that the company that we're talking to at the moment is a startup. They're brand new. Therefore, they want to get into the market. They want to recruit hotels. So there might be an opportunity for us to help them recruiting properties into their network. And they need to launch their product. And what better way to launch it as a wellness travel booking company than into health clubs, wellness clubs all over the US and Canada. So it's a great synergy. And like I say, collectively, there's about 3,500. Well, here's the media pack for it. I'll show you this. Hotels TV. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so this is the gym TV. There you go. 4,350 plus gyms in the US and Canada, 21,000 screens. 21,000 screens. Yeah, we're talking about Reach TV across airports reaching 30 million with 1,700 screens and maybe another 2,000. These guys have got 21,000 screens. 29 million people that they reach, 75-minute dwell times in gyms, and the best gyms in the country. Mapped out. There's our gyms. And where do you want to advertise? Oh, you just want to be in California, or you just want New York. You just want Manhattan. No problem. You know, that's the power of that. And like I say, you have that in your countries. Someone's doing that. And if they're not doing that, and there's a space, we have the opportunity to put our own screens in those spaces now. Right? So if there are these areas and you go, oh my God, there's no screen there, we can't do it. But there's an opportunity. Why don't we put a screen in there? Or 10 and cut a deal with the owners. We'll give it to them for free. And we'll give them 50% of the time to plug their own product. It helps make more sales for them. But we want the other 50% on a long-term agreement, and we're going to sell advertising on that screen across how many units we have. Simple business. We pay X, we sell at Y. In between, it's the margin. You get all these stats, we do all these stats up, it's the same sort of thing. But these are ready-made networks that allow us just to get straight in there. Okay, more than fitness. Look at that. Gym members are well-rounded, highly influential in many categories. Okay, the score rating is put together by professional rating companies. One of those rating companies is called Nielsen, which are the market leaders in the world in advertising, but there are various others. They rate vacation travel and business travel as some of the highest areas as well, along with mobile, technology, wine, auto, finance, property. Now have a look at that. Just have a look at that chart. Now, you'd be forgiven to just zero in and go, oh yeah, vacation travel and business travel, that's us. Look at the rest of the categories. They're the categories you can also contact. They're brands. Clothes, shopping, mobile, new technology, finance, real estate. They've shown us the brands that buy advertising on their network. They're already buying advertising on these types of networks, and they're suitable for those. So therefore, if you put a 30-second campaign or a minute campaign together or a 2-minute campaign, and you want to show that beautiful luxury resort, but they don't have any money, don't charge them. Bring an advertiser in. Say, okay, but we can show your property and obviously make sure it's a very desirable property. So we're talking to Los Cabos at the moment, Tulio and I, in Mexico. And we've taken a proposal to them and said, okay, we want your blessing. We want your stamp of approval, because the tourism board on board carries a lot of weight. Why? Because they can get the hotels on board and together, and we can do a beautiful video, or they've probably got video anyway. We can edit a beautiful video to go across gyms and airports in the US. We can do a $465,000 campaign for 3 months, all about Los Cabos, brought to you by Los Cabos Tourism. And who's going to pay for it? Property development company that's based in Los Cabos, that now loves the fact that the tourism office have put a campaign together and they want to be on it because it's official. And that's what we're working on. So we went to Los Cabos last week and we had a chat with them and said, we know we've given you a proposal for $40,000. We know you're thinking about that. That's fine. What if we did a campaign for free for you? And we promoted Los Cabos across 72 airports, 73 airports. We want your stamp of approval. That's all we want. We want your cooperation, and we want you to blog about us and spread the word across your social media as partners with you. Because then what we're going to do is go and get a real estate company who's going to pay the bill. And they're going to be the advertisers. So we're going to take an 8-minute spot all about Los Cabos, Mexico, and we're going to have 2 or 3 ad breaks which belong to the property management company. And we're going to use Navigator and social media so that whoever connects into these campaigns, we can serve ads to the travelers about the property company as well. So once they're at the resort in Los Cabos, sitting around the swimming pool, they're getting served ads from the property company. Hey, come and visit a property while you're here. We'll give you a free cruise. We'll give you a free night in your hotel if you just come and have a look around these properties. It's lead generation for the property companies. And Hans, I know you've got lots of developers all over Mauritius. They'd love lead generation. And Mauritius Tourism would love to be involved in a campaign that doesn't cost them anything because it's being paid for by the property companies as lead generation. Thailand's the same thing. There's lots of developers, lots of hotel owners, lots of apartments, lots of holiday homes, lots of development around Phuket and places like that, which are, you know, lots of yacht companies. Once again, look at this list. They're all potentials to advertise across pieces like that. So this is what I meant a couple of weeks ago about your creativity. What do you want to put together? You've got to be able to move and create and adjust and see where the opportunity is and build the campaign around the budgets that are available. They all want to get out there, but they want something that's meaningful. Just inviting them onto Hotels TV isn't meaningful enough. We're not a big enough brand yet to command that. We will be, but we're not yet. So hotels will pay $1,000 to $3,000 to come on or whatever, but they're not quite there yet because of COVID. But who's there at the moment? The resorts. Why? Or the properties. Properties booming globally. Seaside properties booming. People have had enough of this COVID. They want to move to the seaside. They want a better life. Wellness retreats. People are spoiling themselves. They're staying in 5-star hotels. Why? Because life's too short. All right. So this is where you get to capitalize on that. And okay, maybe the resorts will pay, maybe they won't pay. Punta Mita is a resort. They have 2 championship golf courses. They have 2 luxury hotels. They have property development. They have property rentals. They have property sales. So 100,000 in marketing is nothing to them. They were almost apologetic, mentioning they only had 100,000 to spend on marketing. So there are hotels in that, and they'll get a mention, but that's it. Right? So it depends who needs you right now and who you find that needs that right now. And they just want to connect to people. And if it's a domestic market, then you create your market domestically. So there you go. There's our video content mix. There's Hotels TV on the TV screen, 2 minutes of airtime, and we can have 15 seconds to 30-second advertiser time as well across those screens. That's loads of time to get your brand message across, you know, but you change the message. We have 3 or 4 different bits of copy. So these are the brands that go on there. Once again, they've given us a hint. These are brands that go on there. These are potential brands and sponsors that we could bring in. And there's the price list. 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. It goes, this is 5 gyms, you know, in 5 cities in the US, 5 gyms, 36 gyms, 5 cities, 2 minutes in each. There's the impacts or the impressions, and there's the price. So work that out. So work out your impressions price now. How much is that costing? Okay, so we say 4644 divided by 1688, $2.75 CPM. $2.75. So what do we price that at? Well, you could, if you price that up 300%, okay, times 3, $8.25. So 8.25 times 1688, 13,900. We could sell that campaign at 13,900. It costs us 4,644. So minus 4644 leaves 9,282. Depending on your level, if you take 15% of that, it's $1,300 in commission. So you can't mark it up too much. You've got to mark it up reasonably, but there's margin in that to be able to mark it up. Why and how? Because we offer extra value. Once again, it's not just advertising with them. What we're going to do is back it up. How are we going to back it up? Okay, so we're on Gym TV and all that. Okay, there's that. With digital marketing. So we put together a digital marketing campaign that follows them around. We put them on our website. We put them on connected TV. We build the package out so they're getting a lot more for their money. We then charge them for remarketing. So if the campaign's over 3 months and they're in the US and it's a suitable campaign and we want to target United Airlines customers, we will charge them $7,000. That costs us about $4,000 or $5,000 for 500,000 impressions. Okay, and we will spread that for those 500,000 ad impressions, remarketing impressions. We will spread that out across the 60 days of the campaign. Once again, it's a sweeper. It's there to reinforce the message so that when they go onto their social media, the same message they just saw in the gym or in the airport pops up and engages them again and again and again. You guys have all been onto Facebook. I'm sure you've seen our remarketing that we do with Hotels TV pop up when you go on there. Follows you around. It's the same thing. Now we have a tiny budget that remarkets. Has everyone seen that on Facebook? Has anyone not seen it when they've been on Facebook? The Hotels TV video pops up.
I've seen it.
I've seen it as well. Yeah.
We spend, I tell you what we spend, maybe $25 a day, maybe $20 a day. That's it. So imagine spending $7,000, what impression you can get over and over again. But that's also because we have to go through a third party to get the impressions from United Airlines. We will include the campaign in our money, or we will maybe charge them in the campaign. Maybe you charge them an extra $1,000 or $2,000 that we'll invest purely into remarketing on Facebook and Instagram to support the campaign in addition to the United Airlines campaign. So once again, you can bring in that bit and that bit and that bit to create a campaign around the budget and just keep thinking well-rounded. What is a well-rounded campaign? A well-rounded campaign is they can see you on a digital screen and they get hit with social media posts to reinforce that. And there's a landing page and there's a message and there's a goal to the end of the campaign. What are we trying to achieve from this campaign? Really important questions to ask. And then you go away and you design the campaign, or you come to me and we design the campaign around what is the best option for that. Support marketing. As an addition, what do? We list them on Hotels TV. We broadcast them on connected TV, on Apple TV. This is in addition to all that. And because they take a campaign, we won't even charge them for this. You can throw this in free of charge. If you do this before the end of the month, we'll do all this free of charge for you. Normally this would be $5,000 to $10,000 extra. We'll do it for free for you, included in your $100,000 campaign. So we'll take a little bit of budget out of that and we put it into this. 2 posts a week across Facebook, Instagram, Reels, LinkedIn, Twitter. That's what we do. 2 email newsletter posts to 50,000 subscribers that we have on our database. QR codes we add. Re-editing the video we do 3 or 4 times. We'll include that for the right campaign. So they give us a video, but then we have to cut it down and re-edit it all. landing page, right? Create all that and give them a monthly report on how their campaign's gone. That's campaign support. And then what are the terms? All proposals are valid for 14 days, after which prices and availabilities are subject to change. Why? Because the prices will go up and availability will go down. So it gives you urgency. And if you tell them we're doing a campaign in May, then you need a decision by the end of this month or by the end of April or by halfway through April. You create the terms that you want. Therefore, they have to give you a decision in 2 weeks. It brings it to a head. Are you interested in this? Yes or no? Do you want to be on this channel? Does this fit your budget? We need a 50% deposit up front, and the balance of 50% is due before the campaign starts. That's the term. If they have a problem with that, then it's like handling an objection. So what's the problem? Apart from the payment terms, is there anything else stopping you? So it's just the payment terms. So if we get the payment terms right, then you'd be happy to join. Yeah, okay, great. Then you handle the objection. So once again, you go in with the Rolls Royce for their money, and they might end up driving away a Jaguar or an Audi. You want to avoid the Toyota if you can, but it's okay. If they have to start in a Toyota and work their way back up, it's okay. You know? All right, so you can be flexible enough, but you build urgency because the campaign's going to start soon. And to be honest, they want the campaign to start soon because then they get the benefit sooner. They're not going to, you know, it's no point waiting till the end of the year. Also, prices are going to be 70% more expensive. Let's use the COVID excuse to our advantage. Prices are 70% lower now in the marketplace right now, even when the market comes back. Say even Reach TV is 70, 80% lower in their price, yet they're only 30, 40 or 40% down in market at the moment in travelers. So it's a great opportunity. COVID has brought them an amazing opportunity to get better marketing and to get in front of people right now. All right. And that's kind of it. So this is kind of how your proposals will take shape. Now, let me show you a couple of proposals, and I'll show you the Tenerife one first. So these have been given to the client. So video marketing campaign for Avia reps, visit Tenerife. Nice picture of Tenerife. It's all about Tenerife. So it's all contextualized. Campaign, Hotels TV will run 30-second video ads promoting Tenerife as an upmarket tourist destination to the UK market across digital screens and premium UK health clubs, including David Lloyd, Bannatyne, Fitness First, Nuffield, and Tony and Guy hairdressing salons. There will be 4 different themed 30-second video ads played on a rotation basis across all screens as detailed. Destination, food culture, accommodation, activities, video copy to be provided and discussed. Package 1, 14,000 euros. They get 70 gyms, 287 screens, 30-second spots, 2 spots an hour. Total spots, 58,000 spots targeted at ABC1 customers, 4 million impacts towards. Now, obviously other people are going to be in the gym, all adults, 5.1 million impacts or impressions. 4.1 million of those are ABC1. All right, but they are still going to reach the others. So 5.1 impressions. All right, for 14,000. So what does that cost? So 14,675. Mind you, that's including Tony and Guy, and that's the hairdressing salons. But just that part of the campaign alone, divided by 5,163, is $2.84 CPM. Very, very low. But it also includes, and this is a one-off. I got a negotiated rate as a one-off for this. So it's much lower than the other ones I showed you before, because once again, as I said, we can negotiate. I went back to Zoom Media and I said, okay, your prices are fine for future clients, but I've got a budget of 14,600 euros that this client has asked for, and that's what they gave us. They said, you can't make it 15,000, it's got to be under 15,000 euros. Matthew will testify to this. So we made it 14,675 because that was kind of acceptable. And then we squeezed as much value in. I got double of everything again, and I got a discounted price. So this is an exceptional deal for them. Plus, they get 35 hairdressing salons in targeted areas, 217 screens, 2 shows an hour, different copy will be used, another 173,000 impacts on top. So 173, 288 plus 5,163,420 equals 5.3 million, 5,336, let's call it impressions. It's going to cost 14,000. I'm not going to convert it back to US dollars, but 14,675 divided by 5,336, $2.70 or €2.70 CPM. It's cheaper than Facebook, yet much more targeted, incredibly targeted towards the market that they want. Now, if you're a decent marketer, who's not going to be interested in that? To get in front of those people with QR codes and and in that, we can even throw in a tracking campaign if they wanted to. I've added it on if they wanted to add it on. But that's option one. Option two, because the client asked for a 30,000 euro option and a 50,000 euro option. So I've just increased everything over 28 days. And there's your impacts. 3 different solutions, some details about the organization. And then I've also given them campaign support marketing, which once again is the listing on Hotels TV. It's on Connected TV. It's 2 posts a week across Facebook and so on. Right? Campaign terms, 14 days, and that's it. That's the end of it. Now, I haven't even brought in the EasyJet aspect, but that's something else we could do. So we could actually add in and say, okay, well, what about now marketing this to, you know, people traveling or booking from EasyJet over to Tenerife? Okay, but their argument might be, well, they've already booked, but we could even market to the ones that search. But you know, even the ones that are booked, we could now show ads of accommodation or restaurants or things to do or things like that. So it makes it a very, very tidy, tight, engaging campaign that you can put together. Are you guys getting this? Can you see it? Yeah, you can see how it builds. So you've got all the products and you can just build it into this awesome, awesome campaign. All right. And then with terms and conditions, let me show you one more. Okay, proposal for Punta Mita in Mexico. Okay, 60-day campaign. Campaign proposal. Okay, overview. Punta Mita is a luxury resort in Mexico, includes 2 5-star hotels, blah, blah, blah. Target markets include California, Laguna Beach, Los Angeles, Palo Alto, San Diego, San Francisco. In Canada, Calgary, Toronto, Vancouver. Okay, so marketing on US airport digital screens, 60-day campaign. It's going to give them 2.4 million impressions. There's the individual cost for each airport. That's a $62,000 campaign right there to get that across those airports. Or ABC One audience. What about Gym TVs as well? So we've got a mix in there. 60-day campaign, 90 seconds across the screens. And the gyms are in the USA and Canada. And 5 cities, 3.7 million impressions over the 60 days, which comes out at a 4.12 CPM. And Canada, 164 premium gyms, 4 million impressions, Total investment works out at 39,000 for that. So total gyms is 53,000. So we have gyms 53,000 and we have airport 62,000. And the remarketing campaign I've put in at 7,000 with 500,000 impressions spread across the 60 days. Okay, with campaign support, which I've charged nothing for. Okay, and I've actually added in, I think remarketing. I've done that in here. In the 7,000, I've included remarketing also on United Airlines and also just on Facebook and Instagram. Additional campaign support 0. So total 60-day campaign. I've broken it down. Airports, gyms, United Airlines and remarketing and campaign support. Total investment, 122,000. Total impressions, 10.4 million, plus the additional that we'll give them just by doing what Harry does and gets the message out across Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all the other campaigns, plus what they get on connected TV. A total CPM of $11 per 1,000. Right? So it's really good value. And I've put discounted from $25 CPM. And you could even tie that down to say, look, normally campaigns are $25 CPM to get to this ABC1 marketplace. But if you get going to take part in this campaign and you sign up by the end of April and we can go live in May or we can go live in June, then it's only going to cost you $11 CPM, which is 122,000. Oh, you can't afford that. You want to cut some things out. Okay, then we can take it backwards a little bit and work down the impressions and the number of airports and the number of gyms and maybe cut out Canada. If you cut out Canada, you save 30 grand, you know, and there's ways, or maybe do half of Canada and you get, you know, 15 grand less off the bill and you get closer to 100,000. Would that suit you? Would you like to go ahead? And away you go. Campaign support, campaign terms, same payment terms, everything. It's the same. All right. So, and that's the same for Los Cabos. We've got to do another campaign. Well, we've got several campaigns to do. So, any questions?
Not really, but I have one question. For example, in case of maybe not using the screens of the airports, and let's say on the proposal that I discussed with AM Resorts, and they say, no, we have our own marketing team that actually does great retargeting campaigns, blah, blah, blah. But however, we would like to see what you are offering. And let's say a hotel or a company, a brand wants to go direct and to get a proposal of the same things what we're doing. Do you think they will get the same?
If they go
we're
direct?
Protected? Yeah.
Oh, we're protected because of how we negotiate, number one. Number two, we will always have something that they don't have, and that's Hotels TV. And that's the way you've got to sell it, that they're part of Hotels TV, and Hotels TV broadcasts across connected TV and across all these digital screens. And once again, it's not just them as a campaign. If we have 2 or 3 or 4 other campaigns running, they get the benefit of those campaigns because it's drawing more people onto the website, drawing more people through QR codes. They're coming onto the platform. They're seeing their advertising as well. It helps through search engines. It helps through social media. So there's benefits in doing things in bulk, if you like, or doing things as a group rather than being an individual. If they go individually, I've shown you the prices before, and you could show them those prices for Reach TV. That's rate card. And then it'd be up to them to discount and them to work out, you know, what they can get. But you know, our prices will certainly be competitive. And if they're not, then we'll make sure they are. And they get the benefit of being within Hotels TV's vehicle or framework, you know?
Okay, yeah. But it would be the same, let's say only the navigator, for example, in this case. Just comparing.
Oh, well, Navigator's not really being sold everywhere. If Navigator's what they're interested in, then no, we buy it cheaper because we need to make margin. So we have a little bit of flexibility on that. But the whole idea is to not really sell Navigator as a standalone tool. You know, these things are there to support other campaigns, you know, as well. So, you know, we may have a digital, if they just want a digital marketing campaign, then we can put a digital marketing campaign proposal together, which includes our own market, as well as, you know, a United Airlines market or a Navigator market.
Okay, yeah, that's what they probably want to compare, actually.
To compare what? What do they already know Navigator? Have they been offered Navigator?
That's why I understood they maybe not Navigator, but something retargeting for sure. They want to see the value, or maybe they want to see if they don't have, for example, with United Airlines of those airports I sent to you.
Oh, they're just doing social media retargeting then. That's
Yeah.
all they do. Yeah, that's fine. That, yeah, sure. You know, any social media company can do that. They could do it themselves. It's not that difficult to do retargeting or remarketing. But that's why you've got to explain that what we do is within hotels TV. So we have our own market already, and we have a very high conversion rate of the way we do things. So we're happy to compare conversion rates. But when we use the Navigator product, it means that we're actually targeting customers that have searched or booked their destination on United Airlines. So it's completely different to what they'd get on Facebook, or, you know, that's very general. It can be quite targeted, but it's still very general in nature. You know, but retargeting generally would be around people that have arrived on their website and then they're seeing their messages again. So it's actually just social media marketing that they're doing the first time to attract those people. And then when they've engaged them, then they remarket to them. But what we're doing is we're remarketing to United Airlines customers effectively. That's the way it works out.
They will not be able to get the same deal for sure if they want to go direct with United, for example.
No. United don't sell it.
Okay.
They could, if they approach United don't sell it. This is through Inc Global. So yeah. So, and it's not something readily known.
What I thought. Thank you.
But like I say, you know, again, we're dealing with hotels. Realistically, what we want, if it's a hotel, we want them to come onto our channel first in order for us to be able to add all these other services on, not just do a Navigator campaign as a standalone. We want them onto our platform because we have traffic already on there. We have our own social network traffic. We've got the traffic that'll come off the various campaigns back onto the website from gyms, from all the other campaigns we work on as well. We want them as part of that, and then for them to do a Navigator campaign from within our network. We don't really want to be a social media company and just go out and do standalone media campaigns. It's not really that beneficial. And then you can be compared on a like-for-like basis. If you go in and sell on a like-for-like basis, then you're always going to be compared on a like-for-like basis. So you've got to be able to offer something that they don't have. And you've got to be prepared to walk away from deals. If they don't want to come into our network and be part of all this, then that's fine. Then they don't get the benefit of it. But if you just want to, if you just want to, if you just want to sell an individual product, then you can be compared all day long and people want to try and shop you around, and you're giving them something that they compare you against. Whereas the objective here is to bring them into a network where they can't really, there's no comparison. Okay, any other questions?
In terms of creating our own proposals, we have access to the Canva you're using in order to do that.
Yep, we can do that, or you can. Canva's an easy way to do it. I'm not sure if you can add on users onto Canva. There are plenty of ways to do it. PowerPoint, you can set up a presentation. You can use this presentation and download it, and then I'm not sure if you can export it as a PowerPoint. I'll have to find out. But yeah.
Yes, you can. You can.
You can.
Yeah, you can export
Sorry
it
if I can
as
do it on PowerPoint.
yeah.
Right.
As any others, yes, because we've done that before with the other documents. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're pretty simple but effective, and they're much better than just long written worded proposals.
I agree. That's why.
Yeah. So, and people need to see it. They need to visualize it, especially screens. It's all about visuals, you know, and positioning. And look at that shot of the salon. You know, you can see people sitting there, getting their hair done, watching the TV screens, chatting about Tenerife. Oh, look at that hotel. That looks nice. Oh, that'd be nice. While it's raining in dear old England, you know, and they're looking at the beautiful sunny Tenerife aerial shots. You know, it's engaging, and that's what they want.
We can use PowerPoint, it's fine. We did access to those images, the same question. Make them readily available to us.
Also, under media packs, I'm going to share this with you all. You can access all this information under media packs as well. So if you go into Zoom Media, okay, Zoom Media has the media kit for the US. All about the US. Hotels TV's version of the media pack made for us. But then if you've got something, bring it back to us, bring it back to Vanessa and myself, because we can go to Zoom Media and discuss what you want on a one-to-one basis, right? And bring you in on a Zoom meeting with them. Remember, they're two different Zooms. They're not connected. And we can negotiate an individual deal on the strength of that one campaign. We don't have to buy rate just off the rate card because it's there. You never do that. No one ever buys rate. You've got to negotiate. And then they can make up a presentation, and then you can steal images from their presentation to put on your own presentation to contextualize it around what the client wanted. And that's all I've done. You know, all I've done is grab bits and pieces. What takes the time is calculating the price and the impressions so that you are certain of them. You don't shoot yourself in the foot and give something away without having any margin in it, so you make some money. All right, that's important. But then you will know what you've got to play with. You'll know what discounts and how much you need to give away or give more value. If you look at the Reach TV guys and the Inc Global guys, so Inc, if you're not sure already, they do 60-70% of the world's in-flight magazines. They own Reach TV. What Inc are doing at the moment are looking at every deal. They're looking at every deal possible at the moment to get deals across the line. That's why I know I can negotiate and get extra screen time on Reach TV. But that's what they've got to do. But they know what their margins are, and they know what they have to give away, to still make some money, to make the campaign worthwhile, and to get the airtime and to keep things ticking along. And then as things develop and rates go up, they'll let us know rates are going up, but we can still negotiate with them. So what they're doing more than anything, though, is trying to hold their price up here and just giving more value, right? So instead of having 1 million impressions, have 3 million impressions, but don't give me any less money for the campaign. I'll just give you more impressions and more screens and more airports. But the good thing about what we've got now, we don't just have one format. We don't just sell in airports. We can sell in airports and gyms, and we can sell in airports and gyms and offices, and we can sell in airports, gyms, and digital. You know, we've got flexibility around the campaigns that we can create, and hairdressing salons. And there'll be no doubt someone who does hairdressing salons in the US. There'll be no doubt someone who does doctor's surgeries. So what do you show in doctor's surgeries and dental surgeries? You show family resorts. And you could probably show those at 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 6, 5 or 6. Why? Because that's when the families are all in, you know? So different things like that. You can get really, really targeted depending on what your customer wants. So that'll all be in the drive. There's stuff on Heathrow Airport, there's stuff global, there's VMO. Now VMO's in Australia, and these are the guys that have the, and to be honest, you can nick images and things from these other ones. They've got some great images, and they've got, you know, 53% of gym goers say their fitness has gone downhill since COVID. 85% of gym users will renew their membership when it's open. All these sorts of stats. It's their job to keep bringing us new material and new information and new research. And so they keep updating it, and then we can then pass that down the line. 1.1 million unique Aussies weekly in the gym network in Australia, right? It's nothing like what you've got over there. You've got loads more reach, but this is still a strong market. 70 minutes dwell time. So all that sort of stuff. So that's all in. Well, that's all in the drive. So we'll share the drive. And we'll get you a copy of the proposal. But I'm happy to work with you on the proposals. What I'd like you guys to do from a sales point of view is get to the people that you can help and say, and you can, once again, you can just contact them on the strength of, look, we've got a campaign coming up. Always say, we've got a campaign coming up. It's across gym TV screens to 25 million people and airports to 30 million a month. I'd love to have a chat with you about including you in this campaign. Or you make it very UK centric and talk about the UK figures and say, look, this is what we do. We're Hotels TV. We run these shows in these, and they have great reach, and we'd love to include you on this. And then you sit down with them and say, look, this is what we do. Take them through, I'll share that presentation with you or another presentation. Take them through all the different products that we have. You can even put, you can put prices in there, but you've got to make sure there's profit in those prices. And say, look, we can design this and we can cater it around your budget and give you the best possible reach for your money. We just need to understand more about what you have and what you need and what you want and what your goals are and what your budget is. And then we'll show you how many screens you can be on, how many ABC1 people you can reach, and how we can support that with digital marketing. Now that could be a hotel. It could be a destination. It could be a brand. It could be a travel company. It could be anything. Okay, but you've got to look for the opportunities that are happening right now. Okay, the where people are spending money right now. Zero in on that. spend more of your time on that and get your appointments going, not necessarily with just people that are going to be good sometime in the next 6 months, depending when borders are open. Go with the ones that are accessible now. In the UK, my advice to you in the UK is you can plan for this now because everything opens May 17th and then May 21. I wouldn't necessarily rush into hotels, but I would rush into the other types of opportunities that are out there, either in or out of the UK. Maybe hotel groups rather than the individual hotels. You might get more traction there. Maybe holiday companies, travel companies, tourism officers, probably a good one because they'll be getting hopefully some money from the government to promote the region. So it might be the Cotswolds. And remember, you know, you can put pretty affordable campaigns together. They don't have to be $100,000, you know. So it could be specific, could be Dorset, could be Cornwall. These are the places getting the business at the moment. People are running away from the cities, right? So what do? You market to the people in the cities to go out to those places. You know, your population's what, 7.5 million? Was it, what's London's population? 7.5 million, 8 million? 8.5. Yeah. They'll be dying to get to their gym in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. London Underground, we could do. You want to do London Underground, we can do it. They said to me, we just can't do QR codes. Probably not. We don't want people reaching across the tracks to scan their QR code. But
I'd say that's understandable.
Depends where. So stations and all that sort of thing, King's Cross, this is all accessible stuff to us. We can go anywhere now, you know? So think as wide and far and high, and just always go for the best possible campaign and talk to your client about the best possible campaign, because we can reach these markets now as a vehicle, then scale it back. Oh, what would that cost? Well, let's talk about it. I don't know yet. Let's talk about what you need. And then I can price it up for you. Oh, it's going to cost you £1 million a month. Oh, Christ, I don't have that. All right, what do you have? Oh, 10 grand a month. Okay, well, why don't we do 3-month campaign? Let's not do longer than 3 months. Let's go in at 10 grand. And this is what you're going to get for it. And it's a good start. We can really zero in on the key target areas right now. So let's not waste anything. Let's not reach out to these areas that are a bit iffy with your market. Let's make sure, you know, we're in Chelsea, we're in Knightsbridge, you know, we're in these ABC1 markets, you know, that you can really target and spend their money wisely. And then review the campaign and then go again with something else. Once again, let's try and get them as much value as possible. And then we do another campaign. And if something is date sensitive, or there's an opening, or there's a launch, then you've got some real leverage in something like that. But as long as it's around travel and hotels and around tourism and around luxury, then we are the vehicle that can take them into these places. Sometimes we'll be able to put 2 or 3 campaigns together. You bring the hotels in from the Cotswolds, and you bring a local advertiser that wants to be seen across those, a property developer as well, with inside the show, and it's sponsored by Cotswold Tourism. They all chip in a bit. And it's a beautiful campaign, and it's all on Hotels TV, broadcast across digital screens, online, Hotels TV, connected TV, and so on. All right. But like anything, you got to keep active. You got to keep the CRM ticking over. This just zero in where you can make some money now. Okay. And these campaigns, if they're timed, you can turn them around really quickly. Do some 5 or 10 grand campaigns, do some 50, 100 grand. It just depends who you're talking to. And you don't find out their budget until you're actually in a meeting with them, because they're not just going to tell you. Okay. So you have to tempt them in with our audience. Use the big figures to get them into a meeting, and then design a campaign around it. Like I say, this is solution selling. Okay. That's it. We will not be having any of these 10 p.m. meetings anymore for me. I will come back to you and change the times around. If you need to talk to me individually, by all means, we can set up other times to talk about it. If you need more product knowledge, like I say, this is all being recorded, so I'll put the video up so you can run through it again and again. Fast forward to the bits you want to see. We will do more training. I will do more videos. It's really important you get your head around the products, read through all the PDFs that you'll get access to in the media files. Really come to grips with what these are, what the terminology is, the impact of plays, the average prices that it costs, so you can cost in your own deals and create your own campaigns. Making 30%, 50%, 100% on a campaign is not out of the question. If you went to a digital marketing company and they were doing a campaign for you, a reach campaign, they would add on 50%, 30%, 100% to the campaign to make money. That's how they make money out of those campaigns. That's how they do it. It's you know, if you buy really well and we can negotiate really hard, your margin could be 200 or 300%. And you can still give really good value, as I've shown you. You still give really good value to the customer, but there's good money in it to earn. So it's all relative, and we can make sure they get lots of good value, and we can spend more money on social media marketing to support that campaign out of the excess that we get. So let's make some money. Let's get these people into campaigns. Let's get the proposals out. So you need the appointments in order to do the proposals. You need the proposals in order to get the sales. Okay. That's it. And yeah, like I say, I'll come back to you with another time to meet. We'll set up, we'll set up some different sessions to do that. Like I say, just keep things ticking along in CRM. Keep your Google Drive stats updated weekly as well. But I'll come back to you shortly. All right.
Yeah, great.
Cool. Excellent. Good stuff. And I'll release that information hopefully today.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
All right. Good.
Harrison, for Windjam, will you be able to, I promise them that for tomorrow?
Sorry, what was that?
For Windjam, will you be able to send me a proposal, or I need to do that?
Yeah, I'll get it done. I'll get it done tomorrow. So it'll be Friday morning your time. You'll have it. Okay.
Harrison, I've got a Hana also asking about meetings, but they're on Eastern time.
What? Sorry.
Ohana, it's one of the influencer company, and they're kind of like, they're on Eastern time. I'm trying to sort out when would work best.
Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah, email me.
Okay.
Yeah, send it through on any. It's not a priority at the moment. It could be interesting, but yeah, I want to look into it a little bit more. But yeah, just email me some details and I'll come back to you and we'll set it up.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Bye.
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 Bye for now.
Thank you.